Welcome to the Bold's election coverage. It's election night in Colorado. Two big races that people are ready to call here in Colorado. Joe Biden will get all 9 of Colorado's electoral votes as he goes towards his quest for 270. John Hickenlooper will also be the senator for the state of Colorado. He beat Cory Gardner. Gardner conceded. And Christina, John Hickenlooper was a fairly popular governor here in Colorado before he ran for the Senate seat.
Definitely, Vinay. I think a lot of people expected him to beat Cory Gardner, and he is now the second Democratic candidate that we have who has won the Senate so far. And he has a lot of policies that he's passed when he was governor in Colorado. One of those bigger ones was to regulate policy for people who wanted to attain a firearm, and that creates a background check. So he worked with the NRA, and he kind of is trying to bring that up to the national level versus the state level. So a lot of the policies that he has have been employed for years in the making. So he's doing a really good job with that, as well as being a previous geologist. So he's trying to get us to the point that we are using 100% renewable energy by 2050, as well as a big thing with the NRA is he really acknowledges all of the school shootings that have happened in Colorado, unfortunately, as well as at the national level. And he also advocates for health care for everybody and believes that that is universal to have high quality health care no matter what your background is. So definitely probably a good candidate to have for the Senate.
Yeah, John Hickenlooper, obviously a popular figure in the state party. Michael Bennet will be the other senator for Colorado. His term is still going on. He was not up for re-election, so 2 Democrats in the Senate for Colorado. Now, Kylie, we've seen here at CU a lot of voting happening. People here at CU are pretty active when it comes to the ballots, but today, not as many lines as we're used to.
Yeah, that's right, Vinay. We saw an overwhelming trend here today at polling locations on campus. There weren't a lot of people there, and we expect that on college campuses with a lot of out-of-state voters voting absentee, but today there was another factor in play, and that was the virus. We think that we saw a lot more people vote early and use those online resources that Colorado offered to voters to minimize that in-person contact at the polls, and yeah, that came into play today and really influenced how people voted in Colorado.
Yeah, we saw those ballot drop boxes all over Colorado. We saw students using them here on campus right behind us at the UMC. But Courtney, one of the big predictors of how candidates will do on Election Day is the weather. It's always the weather. So how did the weather play into today? It seems like it wasn't that much of a story.
Absolutely, Vinay. It always comes back to the weather. And today, as Kylie said, we saw a lot of absentee ballots, a lot of early voters, mail-ins, things going on like that. So there were not as much of a line as we expected at the polls this evening as we were there as they closed. And historically, there have been more voter participation on these days, high of 77 in Denver today as well as Boulder. So typically we would expect more voters on days like this because the weather is so nice and sunny. People don't really mind getting out there to vote on days like this, but now with absentee ballots and being able to register to vote online, maybe people don't mind as much, but those statistics are clearly proving to be changing this year.
Yeah, the great weather today, great time to wait outside in line, even though there weren't that many lines. Again, the big headlines for us here in Colorado, John Hickenlooper will be returning to the Senate for the first time. He was the previous governor for Colorado, and Joe Biden will get the state's 9 electoral votes. We don't have any information on the regions of Colorado. We'll get that to you as soon as we have it here at The Bold. I'm Vinay Simlot for Christina Robin, Courtney Aitken, Kylie Westhoff. We'll see you later.